What I wanted to share is last week, it seems like in my growth with God, being on this path, intentional path with God, there's always 6,000 things going on spiritually, right? It doesn't feel overwhelming though. However, what I notice in my current transformation that I'm on, last week was a very trying week. Every curveball, every fire that could happen with my load of work happened. And I had to take it one thing at a time and handle it one thing at a time. And I always go to God to help me with problem solving. I really do, because He always guides me. But it was a very humbling week. How could I say this? I'm eating that humble pie. And sometimes when I don't, let me stop saying we, let me speak about my path. When I don't understand something or why I'm placed in a situation, it becomes very frustrating for me sometimes because I can't see the purpose behind it. I can't understand what purpose is this going to serve? How am I going to grow? How is this going to be used for me? And let me tell you something. The question I had been asking God for, I think 3 years now, quickly was answered. And it was answered to cause me to humble myself more in a few areas. And I take it all in, and I'm very thankful to God for it. All the while, He is still teaching me patience. That's a big one. And genuinely being polite and respectful, even when people are not polite and respectful with you. And that's been a huge area in my life that I have not always handled the best. So genuinely learning this and making it part of my characteristic, I am so grateful for, because I see the benefit. I recognize that it's not as draining as it would be when I would match that person's energy and give it right back to them. And here's the thing, when I'm saying genuine to the degree that you're remaining polite and they're purposely trying to get you to engage with them in the manner that they are intentionally treating you. And there's so much I've been learning out of that and in remaining genuine. Here's a few things. How long can a person stay engaging with you if you're remaining polite and respectful, despite how they're projecting their energy to you, towards you? And at the same time, I even found myself in a situation that it was two people, their energy, they're one of those people, they complain, they find fault in everything and everyone and anything. And when I started understanding that in my dealings with them, I would always prepare my mind and my spirit. And I would remain polite, and I would remain with a smile on my face, and I would remain making sure only to respond to the things that is going to cause progress and not just go in a circle, right? Because they wanted to just argue, fight, they can't stand you, just that kind of energy. And I remember coming home, probably within the last 2 months, I wrote God a long letter about my interaction with these two individuals. I was upset. I was hurt. I was just so offended. I found myself, it's probably 4 pages long, front and back. And I'm talking about like legal notepads, right? And I'm writing, and I recognize I just kind of started repeating myself. Not even 30 days later, the change that took place, God is so good. The change that took place is amazing. So these individuals, my last day of having to deal with them was last week, permanently. And it just went a lot further than that, but I can't disclose it just out of privacy reasons. But what I am learning within myself is I get to see what it's like when you are genuinely allowing God to make that transformation within you, for you to have the fruits of His Spirit, right, reflected in my life, in the way that I handle myself, in the way that I hold myself, and my character and who I am as a person. And I'm still not perfect. I still have those moments of erring. I still have those moments of allowing my flesh to get the better, and I don't like that feeling. So even when those times happen, correcting myself, apologizing, coming from a place of humility, I prefer that. I prefer to continue to stay on this path and work at that. It's a peaceful feeling because I don't have to have that guilt in knowing that regardless, I could have handled myself better. I could have not given in. And so that's where I'm at intentionally. And last week at work, it was every single day throughout the whole day of my job that I found myself being put in those situations. And as I was telling my husband about it, how else can you enhance that skill? How else are you able to become that if you are not put in those situations that require that from you? So at some point, as you continue to deal with those situations and you become that of what you're working towards and it becomes second nature, you no longer look at it as, oh, he's testing me. No, it's just become a part of who you are as a person. So it doesn't take all that work as it did in the beginning when you were working on it. So I thank God for just wisdom and understanding and all the things that He is, by His grace, allowing me to learn and inherit because of my desire. That's something that I desire to grow. So I wanted to share that because our days are, it's a lot going on. But at the end of the day, though, if you have that faith that He wants us to have, what does the word say? Faith without works is dead. So there's no point, right? Where's the faith at? How are you increasing your faith? How are you using your faith if you're not going to put in the work that is required? So it takes work. Keep that in mind. And I hope that speaks to someone or inspires someone else to keep holding on. Whenever I hear people say, you know what, being nice just doesn't work, I'm not going to do it anymore. No, it does work. It's supposed to work for yourself. And if you remain nice, let me add one more story to that. When I said being kind does work, at some point that person may experience needing your help. And I had that happen as well too. And that individual assumed that I would not help out because this individual knew by the way that this individual was speaking to me on a consistent basis, just so disrespectful, to the point where the moment I call and say hello, there's already just a nasty response. But I still continue to not allow that to bother the way that I'm handling myself with this person. And this individual had sent me written communication and said, if you've made it this far, and it was like to the end. And I did. I read the whole thing and I replied back and I said, I've read your entire message. Thank you for your honesty. And this will be updated. And it is important to understand that these qualities that God wants us to have, they're not just for ourselves. It's also to help inspire other people. Because even if they never tell you, someone who could be so nasty and they see that you have not given in to responding by way of what they're putting out there, trust me, those things causes people to analyze and take a look at because that's not the norm. You have some people that are born naturally with patience and just don't respond according to the way that they're being treated. But for the majority of humans, that's not normal. People usually will, who do you think you are talking to me that way? Or, well, we give in to those things. So when you're not of the norm and you're not under any influence that is also helping you to be polite or to respond in a manner that gives someone grace, trust me, that is hitting people's spirits. That's where change comes. That's where faith starts happening. That's where people are like intrigued, right? So remember, as God continues to work in us and through us, it's not just for ourselves, it's for those around us as well. And along with your own growth, because the things and the battles and the circumstances that you have to go through as you continue to grow, they do increase in intensity. Just like anything else, you work out using a 5-pound weight for 1 week, 2 weeks. If you're going on week 3 and 4 and 5, and 6 months later, you're still on 5 pounds, where's the growth at? Your muscle can't grow with that. Your body has become stagnant. where is the growth? You got to apply that pressure. You got to apply more weight. You got to apply more responsibility. So that's just the comparison that I'm giving to illustrate the point that I'm making with that. So thank you guys for joining me today. Don't forget to click, share, comment, all the goods. Hit that notification bell. And until next time, you guys all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here again. Bye.